Welcome to Beyond the Coverage. I'm Chris Horner. This is Giro d'Italia 2022, the second rest day coverage. Now, we saw an exciting stage yesterday on stage 9 with just a dramatic finish with Jai Hindley taking a fantastic stage win. Joao Almeida moving into second on the general classification at the top of all the GC favorites here. And of course, Juan Lopez Trek Segafredo doing a fantastic job back there after getting knocked off his bike, clipping back in, and then chasing as hard as he could to hold on to the pink race leader's jersey here at the Giro d'Italia. Today is Beyond the Coverage. I got asked a few days ago from David Fitchner in the comments. He asked, Chris, could you tell us some of the tactics on the road? Who will work for who? And is it the team directors back there that are deciding all the tactics, or is it the riders up front that are deciding? Well, when I won Tour of Spain, which I brought it up here for, because I was riding for Radio Shack, this is stage 10 race win here on that Tour of Spain 2013. But when I was riding for that team, it was Radio Shack. Now we look at Trek Segafredo. It's basically the same organization. In fact, it's Gregory Rast that's driving the car back there, and he was my teammate during the 2013 Vuelta victory. So the tactics that they're playing here at this year's Giro d'Italia are much like the tactics that I had to go through when I won stage 10 and then later went on to win the Vuelta at the Tour of Spain 2013. I didn't like them. I didn't like the way the team was fully playing out the tactics that year in 2013 because I had an amazing teammate with Fabian Cancellara, absolutely amazing, and I couldn't have won the 2013 Tour of Spain without him. His time trialing on the team time trial on stage 1 and then looking after me on the windy crosswind stages was immense and was fabulous. But that doesn't mean that I was still 100% satisfied with the team tactics of that organization and the directors. Now, David Fitchner asked who will work for who. This is the problem. 2013 with Fabian Cancellara, he went home early to get ready for the World Championships. I believe he left somewhere around stage 17. So there's a couple other stages all the way to the finish where we are one guy less and one incredibly dominant, best rider in the world, Fabian Cancellara, at what he did. One-day races, crosswinds, the hillier stages, and then even that year, 2013, at the Tour of Spain, he was doing the last climb for me, probably the first 3 or 4K we were doing. 400 watts at times on his wheel. So the guy's putting out 600 watts up front. It was immense power of strength to have. So when they let him leave, that was a big hit there to our team with Radio Shack. Now, when you look at and you compare it to Trek Segafredo, like I said, it's basically the same organization that's running. All different riders racing, but same organization. Now, when we go into stage 7, that Jumbo-Visma rider won, Koen Bouwman, that stage we saw Trek Segafredo put Bach Mollema in the front group. Now, I said it right here on the butterfly effect. I wasn't happy with that tactic because it thins out the team, much like 2013 Tour of Spain. When you let Fabian Cancellara go home, when you have guys racing for stages, that thins out the team. In 2013, on stage 4, right after I got the race leader's jersey, I'm sitting in the team bus. I'm wearing the red race leader's jersey, and they're talking about the team tactics, and they're going to race for Fabian Cancellara the very next day after I'm in the race leader's red jersey at Tour of Spain. We raced the whole day at the front, way harder than we had to do. We blew up the whole team. Fabian Cancellara got second on the stage. I got boxed in and lost the red jersey. When I came down that mountain on that stage, I was upset. I was arguing in front of the team bus with the manager of the team for Radio Shack until finally we brought it inside the bus. We argued some more, and then when we got back to the hotel, I argued some more with Acevedo. Acevedo came into my room. He said, Chris, why are you so upset? I said, Acevedo, we just gave away the red race leader's jersey. I've been on this team for 6 years. For 6 years, we've been trying to win a Grand Tour. Now I'm wearing the race leader's red jersey, and we just gave it away racing for Fabian Cancellara on stage 4. He gets second. We got nothing out of it, and we lost the jersey. That's why on stage 7, when they put Bach Mollema in that front group, and you look at Trek Segafredo team, Juan Lopez, who's clearly riding good. Now, I'll be fair. I had no idea who Juan Lopez was. Before the Tour of Giro d'Italia started here, I had no idea who this kid was. He was completely new to me. But it doesn't take me very long when I'm watching him on TV to realize this kid is talent, and he is pure talent. I mean, we know he can climb. You see him following all of the tacks. You know he can ride. So then you got to start asking yourself, can he make it up this stage 9 blockhouse? Do we need to have the whole team fresh and ready to help Juan Lopez keep the pink jersey? So that's why on stage 7, I was adamant about I didn't like the tactics. I understand it because they did the exact same thing to me at Tour of Spain 2013 with Fabian Cancellara. We ran the team thin, lost the jersey. Now, you go back to stage 9, Juan Lopez, he has problems with 8 kilometers to go when he gets knocked off his bike and puts his foot down. Then he's chasing on his own. If he had had one teammate, Bach Mollema by chance, stage 7, didn't do that work, didn't do work on stages after that, trying to protect the race leader's jersey. Stage 8, when they had Skilmos in that front group, pulling in the front group, putting pressure on his teammates that are pulling behind. Maybe if you'd saved a little bit of fitness there, so Bach Mollema is not riding on stage 7, then turn around riding on stage 8. Now you get to stage 9, the foot comes out of the pedal for Juan Lopez, and Bach Mollema saves the day with an amazing effort, closes that gap back up to the front leaders. And who knows, maybe Juan Lopez, the young Spaniard, stays with the front group of favorites, and not only does he stay in pink, maybe he loses 0 time and still has almost a 2-minute lead on all the GC favorites. Now, instead, all the GC favorites drop him. He spent a ton of energy that may come back to haunt him. Just that hard chase all the way to the finish of the stage might be something that starts putting some nails into the Spaniard's legs. Now I want to point out the time bonuses on stage 9. Richard Carapaz, we see him in the picture here. He's taken 1 second time bonuses as they start the blockhouse climb. But directly in front of him is his 2 teammates, Ben Toulet and Sivakov. They're taking 3 and 2 seconds. This was a mistake by Ineos, by Richard Carapaz. And again, when we go back to David Fitchner's asking me to comment on the tactics and who's making the calls, is it going to be the DS or is it going to be the riders? It needs to be both, David. It has to be the directors reminding the riders at all the time bonuses are coming up. A dangerous section on the road is coming up. The climb is just getting ready to start. If we go all the way back to the sprint stage with Arnold Demar, there was free time second bonuses that Joao Almeida takes here, and he gets second place time bonuses, which is worth 2 seconds. Now, when we add that 2 seconds, if you look at that time bonus sprint, it was Ben Swift, Ineos, who took the second time bonuses of 3 seconds. That left Joao Almeida with only 2 second time bonus. Now you go back here to stage 9 yesterday and you look at the sprint for the time bonuses where Carapaz didn't put in much effort and at the last minute realized they're coming up to time bonuses, goes ahead and gets third on the stage with only 1 second. If he wins that time bonuses, he gets 2 seconds more off his time. If Almeida doesn't get those freebie time bonuses on stage 5 when Arnold Demar won, now all of a sudden Richard Carapaz would be the favorite of the GCs at the top of the list right now, not Joao Almeida. Now, when we go back, because this is the crazy math here on stage 9, because when we go back and watch the finish of stage 9, when you have the 3 favorites up there, Romain Bardet, you have Richard Carapaz, and Mikel Landa. The problem this group, the reason why this group can't make it to the finish, no one in there is for sure race leader at this moment. Richard Carapaz and Romain Bardet were tied on the time when stage 9 started. Then Richard Carapaz jumped ahead of Romain Bardet by 1 second with that time bonus 3rd place sprint at the bottom of Blockhouse. Now when we get up to the top and these 3 riders are going to the line, the reason they're getting caught from behind from Joao Almeida is because they're playing tactical games up there, because they know whoever wins the stage could possibly take pink, but is not 100% certain, because clearly their directors in the car behind would be telling them that Juan Lopez is only a minute and 25 seconds behind him and still holding pink. So those time bonuses at the end of stage 9 are incredibly important and will help decide who takes race leader's jersey later on at this Giro d'Italia. So one other commenter left in there that he wanted me to cover my top 3 picks here at the Giro d'Italia, what I started with. I started with Richard Carapaz, who's had a very good Giro d'Italia here, with the exception that he was a little bit off on stage 2 individual time trial, but he was the top of the heap on stage 1 because he gained 4 seconds on all the GC favorites when Mathieu van der Poel won the stage. Now, when I look at Richard Carapaz afterwards, Ineos have done an immense amount of work. I didn't like their riding on Mount Etna because, like I said, it's only a 6% climb, and all the climbers can make that percentage, so I thought it was a waste of big energy used there when they could have only put one rider on the front and drove it to the finish. But remember, if they'd done my tactics, Juan Lopez would have a little bit more time on the general classification of another 45 seconds to a minute even. So you got to ask yourself, maybe Ineos were correct on their tactics on Mount Etna. Now, when we look at this last stage, stage 9, Ineos were fabulous. They drove it at the bottom. This is when I like to see 100% effort, when the climb is way above 6%, because that's when you can do the biggest damage, because that's when the wind draft is least effective. And especially when we look on yesterday's Blockhouse climb, there was a crosswind from left to right going all the way up that climb, while Richie Porte was putting everyone in the gutter. Richard Carapaz was getting amazing draft off his teammate in front, while everyone else was getting minimal drafting effect going up Blockhouse. That's why we see the race explode on stage 9, but not on stage 4 of Mount Etna. Now, when you look at the other rider, Simon Yates, my number 2 pick here, before the Giro d'Italia started, he, of course, won the time trial on stage 2 and just set this Giro d'Italia ablaze, looking like the big favorite here. Then he has the crash and bumps his knee. Now he has a knee problem, and I can only assume it was the knee issue that kept him out of being with the group of favorites up front on yesterday's stage 9. My third pick, Joao Almeida. He survived decent on the time trial, losing about 18 seconds if I remember correctly. Lost 4 seconds on stage 1 to Richard Carapaz. Other than that, all those riders had come all the way into stage 1 more or less together, if you forget about the time bonuses from Joao Almeida and Richard Carapaz. So Almeida, of course, was put under the knife on yesterday's stage 9, trying to bring back those 3 favorites up front, with Jai Hindley doing a fantastic job in the middle trying to close the gap. But realistically, it was Almeida doing 90% of the work back there to bring those 3 leaders back. He's clearly on form, but the really steep mountains is not his forte. Now, I want to bring one other thing up with UAE Team Emirates. If we go back to that stage 7, it was Davide Formulo that was in that group that got third on the stage, wasting energy all over the place. Now we fast forward to Blockhouse again on stage 9 yesterday, and when Joao Almeida is put under the knife, does he have Davide Formulo there to close one important gap for him? No, he doesn't, because Davide Formulo has already used up his legs on stage 7. Those are big decisions by the directors to allow these riders like Trek Segafredo's, Bach Mollema, and allow Davide Formulo on that stage 7 to go up the road and waste that much energy. If you're UAE Team Emirates, I thought that was a terrible decision to let that happen, because Davide Formulo does not have a lot of victories on his resume to begin with, so chances of him winning the stage is rare, but chances of him burning up his legs is immensely going to happen there on stage 7. And then when you go to stage 9, Joao Almeida is left isolated many times at crucial moments. So when we look at my picks, so far they're all looking good except for Simon Yates, who's completely out with 11 minutes back, but that's a knee injury. You can't do anything about that. Richard Carapaz could have been the top GC favorite right now if it wasn't for those time bonuses from stage 5 and stage 9 clusters of making a mistake of allowing riders to get time and then not taking time on stage 9. Joao Almeida is looking in fine position. He's at the top of the GC heap. And Juan Lopez, if you could get Trek Segafredo to back you 100%, you could hold the pink jersey for a long time here at the Giro d'Italia and possibly pull out a podium or top 5 when it's all said and done. Good luck, Trek Segafredo's, Juan Lopez, for trying to hold on to the pink jersey here. Richard Carapaz, Ineos, you guys have made a couple small little mistakes, but have been riding fabulous. And of course, when we talk about Almeida UAE Team Emirates, it was a massive mistake to let your one and only climber on the Team Davide Formula go up the road when you have Almeida racing for general classification. But UAE Team Emirates are known for making some mistakes like this in the past. Hope you guys like Beyond the Coverage. Tune in soon for tomorrow's Butterfly Effect for Stage 10 of Giro d'Italia.